Military Medium. This episode being brought to you by Trailblazing Communications, tools to take back your life. This episode I have with us Matthew Griffin, or otherwise known as Griff, who is a former Army infantry officer, served some time in the 2nd Ranger Battalion, is also the CEO and co-founder of Combat Flip Flops. Griff, welcome to the Red, White, News Show.
Well, thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So in a nutshell, for the viewers and listeners, can you share who Griff is, kind of in a synopsis, if you will?
So, man, that's a tough one. It's combine it all here, but I'm a dad. Yeah, so I got two amazing daughters. I'm a business owner. I'm a big outdoorsman. I like hunting, hiking, fishing, mountain biking, skiing, archery hunting, climbing. So I try to spend as much time as I can outside. And when I'm not doing that, I'm just trying to work on being a better person.
Right. Right.
And one small correction to the intro, but I was an artillery officer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man, that's right. King of battle, baby. King of battle.
not the queen of battle, king of battle.
King of battle, baby.
All right. All right. Well, that's good to know. So how does a artillery officer serving in some very prestigious units within the military or within the Army go from that, doing a career in the military, to now becoming the CEO of Combat Flip Flops? How was a Combat Flip Flops even conceived and formed?
Long story. It took about 10 years. I started in 2001. I was an officer basic when September 11th happened, and then all right, I know we're going to war, so the drive to go to the regiment even intensified. So I just got out of artillery basic officer course, went to Ranger school, went to my first conventional unit, went to the Ranger Battalion, got to serve alongside some of the just most amazing people you'd ever meet. Did 3 to Afghanistan and 1 to Iraq. And by the time I got done with Iraq, I was a Ranger Company fire support officer. Is probably the best job in the Army. You get to play with all the big boy toys in support of national level missions. It's a pretty intense job. And after that, for an artillery officer, you either transfer to infantry and then hope to go back to a unit like that. You go to special forces, or you go to an artillery unit. And all 3 of those options at the time would have kept me away from my family more often. So my first daughter was born on my 3rd deployment to Iraq, so I missed that. And then my youngest daughter was born right after I got home from Iraq, and so I just wanted to be there for my kids. So I just made the decision to separate from the military and lead in other ways. And like most guys, I took the first job offered to me. I built homes from 2006 to 2008 until the market crashed, and like a lot of people, I lost my job. Then I went to work for a company called Remote Medical International, where if you're a Ranger fire support officer, you're also the headquarters platoon leader. So which means you're working with the medics a lot.
Right.
And I like the medics. I roomed with the medics. So I just ended up picking up a lot of knowledge and skills about military tactical medicine, and I was able to fake my way into a job where I got to be the director of military sales for this young upstart company in Seattle called Remote Medical International, and just went with a deep dive into it and ended up traveling all over the world, supporting contractors with clinics, pharmaceuticals, contract medics, doctors, and such. And these are all like dicey spots in the world. I was traveling all through Kenya, Sudan, DRC, Afghanistan, Jordan, all these like different spots. And the one thing that I saw was small business is the one thing that promotes security. And it just kept getting shown to me everywhere. I just thought, why don't we just shave off a couple of those decimal points we're spending on ineffective foreign policy that we've been leveraging for the past 10 or 15 years, and maybe cut a few dollars over to business and see what we can do to start these businesses in these areas and promote more of this local security and empowerment. And long story, I walked into a combat boot factory in Kabul, Afghanistan. I saw 300 people working. The factory manager told me they were going to go out of work when the war ended. And at that moment, I looked down on a table and there was this combat boot sole with a flip-flop thong punched through it. And the idea was born under the idea of swords to plowshares. After every war, the military capacity has to figure out something else to do for prosperity. And well, we just start here. And so I called up my Ranger buddy, Donald Lee in LA, and said, hey man, we're going to make flip-flops in Afghanistan. And the domain name Combat Flip-Flops was open. So we bought it for $2.99, and it's been an entrepreneurial adventure ever since.
Wow. Wow. Crazy. Crazy. So what is truly, I mean, other than an idea that was born just out of, um, I don't know what you want to call, but the divine breadcrumbs, whatever you want to call it. But, what, I guess, what is your guys' mission statement, or, there has to be something that drives you other than, hey, this is a great idea, but why, other than, hey, this is a combat soul with a flip flop thong through it, but why flip flops?
That's three questions, and I'll answer them in order.
Sorry.
That's all good. Our mission statement is to create peaceful, forward-thinking opportunities for self-determined entrepreneurs affected by conflict. Our willingness to take bold risks, community connection, and distinct designs communicates business, not bullets, flipping a view on how wars are won. Through persistence, creativity, and respect, we empower the mindful consumer to manufacture peace through trade.
I
So that's
love
our
it.
mission statement. That's what we do. Like all of our actions in the company, like, does this achieve our mission or does it take away from our mission? Right. And that's what drives our actions within our company. What was the second question?
The second one, I guess, well, really what, and I know there was really three, but like, why flip flops? I know that it was, you saw it, and it was just like, hey,
Yeah.
that'd be a great, a great thing to do, but why flip flops? Why not
So
boots? Or,
yeah, I remember the second question. What was the deeper meaning behind it?
oh yeah. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. What's the deeper meaning behind it? So, um, when you leave your units, you don't really leave them. You stay in touch with everybody.
Yeah.
And I left in 2006, and my buddies are still going downrange, and they're still getting dudes hurt, and there's still people coming back in flag covered boxes. And my daughter was born, under this, condition, and she is about a year and a half away from being able to serve, and it's still
Wow.
there, right?
Right.
And it's ridiculous that our nation
Yeah.
and our society has allowed this to continue on for so long, to allow our service members to go over there behind crappy foreign policy
Right.
and come back home in a box, destroying families and such. And so I
Right.
hate it. I can't stand it. And our drive is to go there and show that it's possible to do business and lead that way, with the hopes of 10, 20, 30 years of work, our kids aren't having to go back there and fight the same wars that we did.
Right.
So the drive on flip-flops, you don't fight in flip-flops, right? When you throw them on, you're making a conscious decision not to
Right.
get in a fight. Like, you can't
Well,
throw down in that kind of footwear.
there is a caveat. I remember a couple times in Afghanistan, I was woken up in the middle of the night, going up to the wall to take up positions in flip flops.
Yeah. It's not the select footwear for
Right. Yeah.
um and it's just a fun company, a fun idea. A lot of dudes like us, we like to take off our boots and slide into flip-flops. It's
Yeah.
okay. And all the flip-flops that are out in the market they're okay, right? But we wanted to
Right.
create something for us and our mission, and it's just
Right.
fun. I mean, people dig it. And when you roll up to a bar in a cool pair of flip-flops that are pretty wild looking, and somebody tells you the story, you're like, oh yeah, it's this veteran-owned business making stuff in war zones.
Right.
You sell a pair, it puts a girl in Afghanistan in school for a day, right? That's
Right.
a good conversation. And so it's just fun.
Right. It's kind of a fun story. It's interesting. It's powerful too, what you were talking about, the deeper meaning behind that. And like exactly what you were talking about, almost like the message or words that I still remember, my dad, when he was about my age, maybe a little bit older, telling me, and here's my dad, he's what, 86. And, thinking that, talking about the generations of war and strife, and, these people well before you and I were ever thought of coming into this world, the same generations having the same conversations, right? About these, the continual war machine, right? And continually having these skirmishes and wars. And all this crazy stuff, and it's crazy to me as well. So it's interesting when you brought that up. It was bringing that message back to me, and it's such a cool message that you know also the purchasing. So when somebody purchases, say a product from you, or you guys from your business, a portion of that goes back to
fund the girls' education in Afghanistan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very
yeah. Just I'm a big believer that women are the constant. Like if you've been to
right.
Afghanistan, the Afghan men are tough.
Right.
They live in some pretty serious conditions, and
Yeah.
they're tough people. And the only thing tougher than an Afghan man is an Afghan woman.
Right.
I
Right.
I firmly believe that. And if you're talking about the areas in which we're doing the predominance of our fighting, the literacy rate for women is sub 2%.
Yeah.
An uneducated mom is going to allow her kid to be uneducated, which then makes them more susceptible to radicalization. So our theory and our concept, and it's been proven by studies all over the world, is when you educate women, it works better for prosperity for the family, and they're less likely to be radicalized and commit themselves to violence or crime.
Right.
So the ethical and easy and inexpensive thing to do is to teach women how to read and how to do math. That's the right thing to do for our country.
Right.
I tell people this, like, if America went to Afghanistan and we made every person in that country literate, or not made, but we enabled them to be literate, I think we could puff our chests out and say we did a good thing, and we would see the positive ramifications of that 10, 20 years down the road.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. What is something, so since we're on the platform of Afghanistan, your time there, what is something that stands out to you? I know every country has their nuance about their culture and different things, but what is something that really stands out to you even still today about the culture of um, of Afghanistan and its people?
They are fantastic hosts. Now, a lot of people don't understand why we went to war with Afghanistan, but culturally, being a good host is at the very fundamental, like,
Right.
paradigm of their culture. And so when the United States told, Afghanistan to give up Al Qaeda, they were hosting them.
Right.
So culturally, they can't do it. You just, they say what they'll die to protect you, and they'll die to kill you, and they'll kill to protect you.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
I
Right.
can't remember how the phrase goes, but essentially, like, if you're their guest, they're going to protect you down to the last man.
Right.
And when we went up to my first deployment to Afghanistan was a very rugged deployment. We went up the Kunar province above Asadabad, and we walked into the Korangal Valley and beyond that. And they're in the middle of winter, and these people brought us their homes. They fed us their food, and you're talking a Ranger platoon. We eat a lot, and we were essentially eating at their winter stores, but they were willing to do it because they were to get all of the Taliban violent fighters out of their community.
I got a question in regards to that story. You weren't in the mountains meeting with a mayor of a little ville up there. We used to call him the donkey guy, would you? Up in the mountains up by Asadabad.
I don't know, man. That was a long time
He
ago.
was, so anyways, you brought up Asadabad, and I spent a little bit of time out there as well, out in that fob, and there was a guy out there called the donkey guy because he supported American forces with donkeys for whatever, for hauling equipment or weapons. But and I just,
Maybe.
yeah, I get it when you say rugged territory, and yeah, those what a lot of people don't get is truly, I mean, they don't have a lot, and when you talk about hosting, because I had the opportunity or privilege to be on one of those, whatever you want to call it, civil meetings, whatever, and where you have dinner, and really they bring out like a lot of food. It's like, holy crap, like how many days worth of food was this? And it's like, hey, get out the good china, throw an extra chicken or whatever the hell they're cooking. And it was like damn good from what I
Yeah.
remember. And they really do host. When you talk about that, there's really a, how do I want to say, almost a misconception about people from that culture, from that, the region of the world, right?
Yep. Yeah. Did you ever get up to Nangalam, Fob Blessing?
I didn't because we were the how do I want to say, we were the fob bitches for regiment and all the special operation tier 1 folks. Some guys had to roll on the mounted patrols in and around, and we had how do I want to say, I don't want to say a curfew, but we had a mile radius we could only
Yeah.
operate up to, and because we didn't have special support operations such as regiment and some of the other operation folks did. So the conventional forces were really the guys that got to I remember there was some up in the ABAD area, and there were some mountainous observation points that we would occupy for a week. And of course the conventional guys, of course, we got to put everything in a ruck for a full week and go up the side of the mountain. And I remember there were some guys from Ranger Battalion, I think some other operators, and they were up there with the what's known as the Ranger panties, their little, collapsible submachine guns, whatever they had, and Wiley X's, and they were just running, and they were like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And and here we are just sucking wind, and but no, just some really good memories back then, but yeah, we were kind of the I think they call them uplift soldiers now. That was the new term. That was way back in '03, so that was a number of years ago. And it's sad
We
for,
might have been there at the same time then.
well, we might have been. It was way back in 2003. And it's, when I think about that, I'm like, there was a lot of, or that was a long time ago. And and I was like, if a kid was born in 2003, I was like, holy crap, like you talk about, your daughter, and thinking about how much time has expired. And then I think about the people in that area, just some really good local folks. And I was thinking, of course, I'm from the North or Midwest area, and I'm like, wow, this really reminds me of, the rivers and the valley area. And I was like, you can take parts of this and really, that reminds me of, I don't know, Mississippi River, or something in your area, and I was like, wow, this is it's got its own beauty to it, in a sense.
That area is gorgeous.
It is.
Yeah.
It's rugged, and it's and it has its own every place I think has its own ugliness as well, but it is absolutely gorgeous. I completely agree with you. Between the how do I want to say, between the poppy fields up in the mountains to the valley area just outside of Abad there, and going through that area, and especially during the spring, even in the winter, the snow-capped mountains, and being up in that elevation as well, seeing between dust storms and snowstorms in the same damn day, it's craziness, thunderstorms and everything. It is gorgeous. So
Yeah,
yes.
there's a really great documentary that's out there, and I think it starts in the late '90s. But there was a Japanese philanthropist doctor
Mm,
who was out in that area and was finding that a lot of these kids were having diseases, and it was related to malnutrition just because they couldn't farm that area. And they
right.
spent 15 years building this just amazing water irrigation system, hand digging canals for miles through that terrain in Afghanistan
Oh man.
to really change the face of that valley. And when you show the overhead shots over time, it's really amazing what they did for prosperity. And that's something that I didn't know about until after I got out of the military. You saw
Right.
those Japanese like signs that were there. Hey, this is put in
Right.
by this organization from Japan. And it turns out the Japanese put a significant investment into that area
Huh.
for agriculture to change that town around. And it's a truly amazing documentary. And then you want to see somebody who works their ass off with a purpose. That Japanese doctor that did that was a straight up badass. Like
Wow.
it's really cool.
Well, and that would have been a lot of challenges from the time of the Russian occupation as well, I suppose, as well, with all that. How do I want to say? I can't even remember off the top of my head how many years that lasted, but that was pretty challenging as well. So, but I want to switch gears a little bit, jumping back to the flip flops, combat flip flops. So, talk about some of the products. Let's. So what do you got? Obviously, I just don't want to call them the basic flip flops, but talk. And we're going to put them up on the screen here. So when you talk about them, I would just love kind of from the horse's mouth type kind of synopsis of what kind of products you guys got going on, and so we can feature these. How do I want to say, works of art to other folks that might be guided to purchase them.
Right on. So we started with the AK-47. That was the first one we sketched out, and it's gone through a couple iterations over the years.
Sure.
And the new 2020 version is pretty badass. It's got proprietary rubber outsoles. Like we're Rangers, so we're super detailed about our feet and how we want stuff to perform over time. So we have a specially made EVA, so that way most flip flops, you're walking on asphalt after a week or two. Like ours don't do that. We use full grain Colombian cow leather on the deck and on the uppers, and it's just a savory product with little 7.62 casings on the upper.
Nice, cool. Nice.
And then for the more water rugged ones, we make the flopperators, and so that's same outsoles, same rubber, but it just has an EVA deck, and then tubular nylon on the upper, and it's got like a little spot where you put morale patches. So we have American flags, and we have little mantras that say "slow is smooth, smooth is fast," and bad for running, worse for fighting, which is our tagline.
For sure.
And then we make a new boot, which we released last year. So it's called the Mark 19. And it's just a really cool, a lot of people are familiar with Chucks, but we just built a better Chuck. It's what people say what Chuck should be.
Nice.
So they're really sticky, they're fast, and they're light, and they're great product. Outside of that, we make seasonally, we make some jewelry made out of landmines from Laos, left over from the Vietnam War. We're all sold out of that right now, but we're going to bring it back around the holidays.
Okay.
We make shamals, scarves made in Afghanistan. And we just launched a new red, white, and blue one for the holidays for the summertime.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and they're selling really well because with COVID and everything going on right now, people are wearing them as face coverings.
Oh, yeah.
So we actually haven't been able to keep them on the shelves, which has been pretty cool to see.
Nice.
Yeah, people are making them and putting people to work. Yeah, and then we just have T-shirts and hats and other things, and just it. We're sticking with the 80-20 rule, the AKs, the flopperators, and the Mark 19s, where it's at.
So if somebody wants to check out all those products, where do they go?
combatflipflops.com.
Sweet.
And if you want to follow us on social, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, whatever, it's all at Combat Flip Flops.
Sweet. Well, Griff, thanks so much for being on today. Appreciate it. Is there anything else before we close today that you want to plug and make sure if I had a brain fart and didn't ask you?
Yeah, it's super easy. If you're just learning about our company now, head to the website. If you sign up for the email address, you get 20% off your first time purchase.
Nice.
And you become a member of the Unarmed Forces. If we have products that aren't in stock right now, just click on the product you want, and there's going to be a little orange button that pops up. It says sign up to notify me when it comes in, and so then we'll email you as soon as it comes in. And other than that, just try to be a better person every day. Be a better human. It's one of our mottos.
Sweet. And one last question before I let you go is who is somebody that that you look up to or that has inspired you in doing what you have done thus far, I guess, in life?
Yeah, there's just so many.
Maybe your top two, if you got so many.
Guys that I like in the past, I'd have to say Einstein.
Okay.
I got a big old painting of him right in front of my desk right here. So
nice.
Just, being thoughtful of everything he was doing and always constantly seeking to explore not only what was out there, but within. And that was really cool. He was a very mindful guy. And as far as people that I kind of look up to now, I like Elon Musk.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, very cool.
he's straight up getting after it, at a very large level, and it's really cool to see people execute and pull off amazing things like that.
Nice, nice. I love it. I love it. Matt Griffin, or Griff as he's known. Thank you so much for being on the Red, White, and You show today. It's been an honor and a privilege to get to know you and let you share the spotlight for you, and just get to know about your products and you guys' mission.
Thanks, Dean. I appreciate it. Hope you have a
Yep.
great day and a great week and a great weekend.
All right. You as well. Bye-bye.